not with the reading, with the discussion. You guys are going to see some images here to go along with what we're talking about here. I believe I titled this uniquely so that it didn't trigger any weird things. I titled it The Cycle. So we're going to talk about narcissistic abuse cycle and what that looks like, and I'll be pulling up some terms and definitions for you all to look at so that you can, apply it and evaluate it into real time, because you know what, life is not a bunch of terms, huh? And those terms are applied that aren't always streamlined and clean cut. We're going to talk about that, but you all are looking at something I found on Facebook. It says, respectfully, I don't care who I lose as long as it's not me again. Okay? When you're dealing with heavyweight manipulation, psychological abuse, narcissistic abuse, group dynamics, it's all designed to have you to lose a sense of yourself. And what we against, or should I say, what we are clearing out is all of that we get all entangled and discombobulated in. So let's go ahead and start with the first. So we're going to look at first and foremost the phases of overt narcissism, okay? It says this abuse is repetitive and there are 4 phase patterns. Idealization, the one, discard, covert abuse uses subtle, did you all catch that word? Subtle, passive aggressive tactics like playing the victim, feigning helplessness, and quiet, gaslighting, making the psychological trap difficult to spot until deep emotional exhaustion sets in. The 4 phases of this cycle. So idealization, which is the hook, is also known as the honey trap. Okay? Hook, also known as the honey trap. So honey is going to really go along with the second half of the discussion. This is covering covert narcissism. Okay? So anyway, it's something that's designed to hook you in. So in the idealization phase cycle, this person shows intense fake empathy. Now we got to chew these words, because when it comes to living it out in real time, this is where it's at. It ain't about reading it on the screen. It's what does that play out like for this to apply. That can include crying, I would never want to hurt you or your children. The hook, to make you feel safe, to make you feel comfortable. Fake empathy and deep mirroring to make uniquely understood, like they care. Okay, shower you with subtle flattery and vulnerability to get you bonding fast. So it's going to be critiqued per person because everybody's not the same, no? So they're going to take it according to their evaluation of you. Okay, and now here comes the interesting phase, the devaluation, which comes quick. It says it's slow, but it's depending on how quickly they get whatever they wanted out of you and the dynamics of you, whether that was sudden luck, an opportunity, energy, or simply to try to clear up their reputation really quickly. Whatever that is, once they've attained that, then the devaluation commences. This is when some other stuff starts to happen. Now, aggressive jabs, backhanded compliments, and this is, there's going to be no record of this. in terms of any outside, third party, non-partial or attached energy to a twist. That's when this takes place. Okay? So that they can say it's subjective. Okay? Change? Oh, it's not changed. Hold on. Oh. Bear with me. I may have to start over. It's showing. Okay. Okay. So plays the permanent victim to shift blame and triggers blah blah blah. Silent treatment, subtle gaslighting to make memory and sanity. That's when the yeah, they shift the blame onto you. This is also known as the Darbo effect. Okay. Now the discard is, like I said, it depends on the situation. If they have accomplished what they think they was to accomplish, then this is going to be sped up. Okay, whether it was a deal with the devil, whether it is an opportunity, whatever it is. Okay. Now the discard, withdraw completely or provoke a fight. I love this because this is where I'm going. This is the cycle of abuse. When you and they're tired of you and they realize you know and you see the truth, and or they have also received whatever that they were trying to attain, no matter what that is, then here comes the provocation. Here comes those manufactured issues, okay, that they start to create. Okay. They will provoke a fight. They're going to find a sore spot, find something they know that's going to annoy you. They're going to create it. They're going to dig at it. They're going to pull at it. The whole goal at this point is to make you uncomfortable and to force you into something. Comfortability. Okay? So that they can then blame you for ruining it. Yep. Create issues, start picking at you, start provoking you, testing you, doing things to irritate and annoy you intentionally, while looking like to everyone else that they're trying to serve and support. Okay? Putting somebody on the phone that you don't know on video chat that you ain't seen since your ass was 95 pounds and 12 or 13 years old. Who does this? These are the same people who don't like nobody springing nothing up on them. The same people who don't like people springing shit on them. Go figure. Okay? But again, these are all things to get to you, to test your boundaries, to provoke some kind of reaction and fight so they can say you're ruining things or you're insincere, you're inauthentic, you're trying to run their household. Yeah, right. They tell on themselves straight away. You know what our situations are, we already know it anyway from the gate. It's like, that did not happen. That was a whole fake ass manufactured shit. Because none of that happened. Many of you ain't bossing people around. That's their MO. You ain't bossing people around, telling people what they can do with their shit, their cars, their houses. It's lies. But when people claim that they're trying to be comfortable, and then you're doing the things for yourself to try to make yourself comfortable, and they have a problem with that, that's their interpretation of saying you're trying to run their household. And it's you because of the energies that are bothered by light. Because again, If your intentions are pure and you're not bothering anybody, meaning you are really careful, because again, that projected energy is very disrespectful to anybody. So if you're being careful to, you know, like I'm not trying to, this is for me. This is me, me. Then they shouldn't be bothered. The question of the hour is why are they? But that's a whole nother video. Okay, why are they? Is it that their co-people are telling them to do that because you're clearing out the energy that's negatively impacting you? So their co-people are telling them to tell you that they have a problem with it, and then if you say anything about it, then it's going to make it seem like that. Anything to create any energetic boundaries for yourself. They always provoke a fight. They always provoke a misunderstanding. And since it's always done covert style, no one knows. And that's when everybody can go around saying, we don't know. Nothing happened. They're tripping. And usually this is all of the people that are involved in the first place. But when there is no non-partial outside energy that could attest to what's happening, this is why they do that. To provoke reactive abuse, get you into a reaction. Why? They want to get you to run. And then they want you to run while saying that they didn't do anything. They didn't ask you to leave. This time we're just going to do shit to force them to make them want to leave. So then it gets to look like, once again, onto the target, like they're psychological, they're mental. Yeah, I think a 3-year-old or a 6-year-old or a 5-year-old might even have the capacity to figure out if somebody is passive aggressively doing things to make their presence known, to make somebody feel uncomfortable. Yes, somebody is going to want to leave, but you all could possibly overcome and all that. Like, very well, I already see it. It's okay because it's a strategy. So that they can get on the phone, on their phone tree, on their group chats, and say how ungrateful the targets are, how ungrateful, entitled, and how they're coming at them all kinds of ways. They're coming at me. And then if people aren't there, third party people that have no vested interest and no special ties to the parties involved to actually literally see and evaluate the situation properly, then you don't know. And since most of these people never have the balls, guts, gumption, or integrity to actually come to all the parties, that's why they stay in the convoluted energy to begin with. This is the discard phase. And if they're sociopathic, they're trying to force you to do it so that they can say this was your fault, you messed things up. They start acting different. They start justifying their cruelty, i.e., it's 100,000 degrees. I have an adult disabled son. Everybody knows this. It's to create confusion within you, the target, as well as everybody else. trying to get some closure. You're never, and by the way, I hope I've taught well on this over the years. You're not going to get closure if this is truth. If the case is you're dealing with this, you're not getting closure from these kind of people, because these kinds of they can't, you're never getting, nope, nope. How are you going to get closure from somebody that's in utter delusion and denial about the behavior? Or someone who has, unfortunately, hidden agenda and an ulterior motive? It's not going to happen. It's going to be something that's discombobulated, used as a trap. Bullshit. Okay. Hoovering. So the hoovering could be by proxy. Okay. Sometimes when people want to give because the narcissists don't want you validated. So what they do is try to have an appearance of non-entrance, while all of their people have full vested entrance on knowing your whereabouts, your movement, your social media, your everything. They'll say that they were beaten up and torn up about the separation and they just didn't understand. Like all of that stuff, like, blah, blah, blah. To reset the loop once you lower your guard. And in this case, sometimes we'll get into the communal side. This is where the exploitation of people's vulnerability or situations are being taken advantage of, in some cases downright manufactured, to force someone back in a circle that they don't want to be in. And you can do it by manipulating. It can be done. If enough people are involved, if enough, yes, it can. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. To create another trauma bond. But it looks like, based on the reading, many of you all are breaking even that, because again, many of you, out of sincerity, you're a good person. If you're wrong for something, unlike narcissistic types, you don't have a problem with going, okay, like, well, maybe my info was wrong, the informants, the information, maybe I don't have the right players, maybe okay, and if I'm wrong, then I am sincerely apologetic, because you guys are good people. And if you think that your erroneous actions of accusation has really seriously injured somebody, you're like, okay, that's not good. That's bad. And that's bad. But if you find out like that was a trick to make you feel that way, it's all hell. All hell, nigga. All hell gonna break loose. All hell gonna break loose. Because again, it's that same bullshit. Plan on your decency. Plan on your desire to be a good person and to be, accountable to, okay, I made a terrible mistake with accusing. They even take advantage of that. Toxic energies take advantage of even that. To spin that into their narrative. Yeah, they apologize. Yeah, that's how they get people. Yeah, but let's go ahead and quote the whole statement. If because we've learned that nothing is quite as it seems, and we live in a world where there's constant head fucks. You're not just taking somebody's word for shit. Nobody. Especially somebody who has a vested interest on protecting their reputation at all costs, even if it means lying to you. Nobody. So they can play on your vulnerability all they want, but in your own mind and your own heart, you're like, I'm still not. The caveat is if I'm wrong. And the caveat is if I'm not, I'm going to call judgment on that. Even more penalty to pay. Don't play with my damn life. So they hoover via now with social media and technology being what it is. Now they can hoover you that way while seeming to be in their respective lives, on a vacation, at work, at the grocery store, sleep, down the street at the neighbor's house, at the gas station, having a phone call or conversation with a random person. So all of those things make it appear as if, what? No, they can do this by proxy. If you're dealing with anything on an organized level or cult level, whether that's family, groups, businesses, you name it, this is done by proximity or proxy as well. The tactics that are used is their victim mentality. They're constantly framing themselves as the one that's injured in the situation. Yes, the ones that's doing the abuse, the ones that's causing the mess, the ones that's causing triangulation and wedges in relationships, the ones that's pinging people against one another, the ones that's appearing to be your savior and hero for everybody, is often the ones claiming to be the injured party, to dive accountability, to in some cases, then they'll pretend to lack some basic competence to drain your energy. Okay, so this could be energetic too, emotional, mental, anything that they really don't want to deal with, because it's not cookie cut. It's critique their personality too. So it's whatever the things that they are not really wanting to deal with. Not that they can't. 'Cause it's a difference between legitimately needing some help, but in order to make you overly exhaust yourself, okay? Those things happens as well. Okay, then the smear campaign. This is my favorite, because this is how they turn the world against you. This is what's been done to me. Yet they want my attention. They want me to make phone calls and talk to people and care and all that. The same ones that convincing people that I'm crazy, convincing people that I'm the problem, are the same ones that want me around or want me to overextend and do all that. It's like, why should I want to? They can't even be straight with you. They can't even be real. Okay? And it's like, who wants that? That's not authentic connecting. That's not. And unfortunately, most of our cultures, we don't know nothing about it. We don't know nothing about it. That's how we bond with one another, by gossiping and talking about each other to each other, or whoever the current target and scapegoat is for this particular season. While we act like we're trying to help them and keep them on a good path. All to keep people from looking at us. The smear campaign. This is how, this is why a lot of us have situations where it's difficult, because people got roots in cities and states and towns, and they know everybody, and they running their damn mouth. The very ones who have a problem with you speaking, running their damn mouths. To make sure people are not seeing you in the proper light. They'll tell you this family member said this and have a problem with it, when essentially they're the ones that have a problem with it. And they'll tell that family member that you had a problem with something that you never said you had a problem with it. So this is going to make all of you look side-eyed, basically, at one another. And the common denominator is that one person that is going around whispering to everybody, yet nobody is talking to everybody together at the same time. That's how they do that. And they'll say, you can ask this one and that one. Don't do that, because that's not a valid observational approach. It needs to be third party, non-partial, non-detached, non-involved people coming together. Not, you can ask my daughter. You can ask my son. You can ask my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law. No, 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 no. No. That's not how it works. That's not how you're going to get accurate, valid information. If all parties aren't involved, then you're not going to. If all parties are involved at one time, then you're not going to. If they cannot get that, then there's some discombobulated, convoluted energy there. Now, the sophisticated narcissists, since they're really good, they can get in a group and still lie straight through their teeth, and they rehearse enough, and they hope that by doing so, it'll provoke you to act crazy in front of everybody, because like that scene I told you all about, those are the ones that are super disconnected and super sick. They can get on the phone with everybody, including you, and sit up there and still lie. And cry and all those things to make you go, because you're level-headed and grounded, to make you go, for real? To get some reaction, so that the people that are non-involved and partial can see your reaction, and with their lack of knowledge about this stuff, looking at you as the one that's possibly the problem, because they're there crying and saying all this in front of everybody, and you're pissed because they're sitting up there in a group in front of everybody lying through their damn teeth. And crying. While you may keep composure a lot, you may not allow yourself, because that's a manipulation tactic in itself. Crying, some people learned how to do that. That'll disarm people. That'll get people into wanting to console. Your standard regular Joe Schmo, your standard normal motherfucker that ain't altogether fucked inside. You know, that's gonna get them in the whole, oh, I don't want you uncomfortable, even if this person may need to be uncomfortable because they need to be held accountable. Okay. So then the smear campaign. So this is how they also subtly do it. If they have any roots in any areas that you're in, any family structures, cities, neighborhoods, you name it. This is how they do that. So to force you to have to rely on them, to force you to have to come to them, to force you, either you're dealing with them or you're not dealing with nobody, or you have to deal with family by proxy through them. That's hierarchy, and that's narcissism. It's control. When they think that you're bonding with somebody, I promise you, that's separate from them. I promise you there's something they start to conspire real fast. Shutting down communication to punish and control emotional state. This is something else they do. Okay, when you start putting up a boundary, or even if you're simply just staying in your energy, sometimes you really did anything. They know, they can sense and know that you see the truth. You're not overexerting yourself. And in some cases, stalking you while pretending to not stalk you. Unfortunately, they have that information because they are. And you can't not know it. That's the downside of stalking. You can't not know, right? So with that, then here comes the subtle passive aggressive stonewalling, all the tactics to make you subtly uncomfortable and all of those things. Okay. Now it says healing and no, wait till we come back. Hold on, guys. Hold on, son. Okay. Now I don't have any, and to be fair here, I don't really know if there's any really truly helpful supportive energy for this kind of thing, because again, this is what you're gonna do. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters? You know what I'm saying? Who you gonna, when it's insidious and covert like this, what are you gonna do? So you're not gonna get, unfortunately, a lot of support. It just says here, recognize the pattern, understand all of that warmth was just simply a strategy. It was a phase of a predictable loop, not a baseline reality. It was never true. It's what they do. And for many of you, you figured a lot of this out and you tried to keep your distance for a long time. You tried talking to people and things like that. Nobody ever believed you. And then that's when the project sabotaged your life. It was heightened to force you into these situations. Simple as that. And other people that you reached out to for help betrayed you because they're sharing information with people who are operating like this. That's essentially going to sabotage and infiltrate anything that you're doing here indirectly, however they're doing it, because you can do it by proxy. Okay. It says trying to maintain strict boundaries is something that you really can't enforce with narcissistic abuse and abusers. Okay. The only thing that you can do, it says here, look at absolute no. This is why they also manufacture enforcing contact. You can't reason with them. All it's going to do is trigger intense manipulation and rage. You're not about to have an adult conversation. You're not about to have a reasonable, truthful, honest, sincere, reciprocal conversation. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. Never. It says seek support. Again, I don't know where the support is because I don't really trust a lot of things. Now that I know what I know, I don't know where you all can go. So I'm going to say caution as you feel guided. If you can find a licensed mental health professional, if you can, and you feel into all of that, and test the waters, okay? So that you can unpack the cognitive dissonance that they're trying to create with that plausible deniability bullshit. They want you to believe their bullshit versus the truth of what you know. Okay? Now we're stepping into part 2, where you're getting into communal narcissism. So a communal narcissist seeks validation through public altruism, appearing as a selfless community savior. Their abuse cycle is hidden behind a mask of charity. Privately, they mistreat those closest to them, but publicly, they position themselves as a martyr or a victim. weaponizing the community against the actual target. And that is what's being done to me, and that is what's being done to some of you who see this video. Okay? Now, the communal mask, the idealization, the grand public acts. The abuser performs intense, visible charity work. They want the world to know how they helped you. Activism or community service to build an untouchable reputation as a deeply empathetic person. They love bomb the inner circle. Okay. Showering chosen targets or new group members with excessive praise, making them feel uniquely special and chosen to join a noble mission. They establish authority. They embed themselves deeply within a social or a religious or activist group, so their word is automatically trusted over anyone else. They split reality. Now, this is where private evaluation happens. This is the problem in the situation, because it's never anything that non-partial third-party world has privy access to know. I'm sorry if I'm yelling, because it's the machine that keeps coming on and off, so I'm trying to talk so that y'all can hear me, and then I'll lower my voice because it goes down and I don't need to be screaming. Okay. So behind closed doors, they are hypercritical, they're dismissive, they're cold to their whoever the partner is, whether it's their partner, family member, community, dropping the public persona. Okay. They're inverting the narrative. This is the Darbo effect, okay? If the target reacts or expresses hurt, the abuser then accuses them of sabotaging their good work or being unsupportive of their sacrifices, okay, for others. Exhaustion through compliance. The target is expected to quietly support the abuser's public ego while receiving zero emotional care or safety. Public smear and rejection, the discard they play. The victim when the target attempts to set some boundaries. The communal narcissist publicly pivots to playing a wounded, heartbroken benefactor. They start mobilizing the flying monkeys because the abuser has spent years cultivating a saintly public image. The community readily believes their version of events. Total isolation. The victim is ostracized not just from the abuser, but from the entire social or community network, which views the abuser as the victim and the target as toxic. It says here, if you're dealing with this dynamic, let me know. Okay, I don't know who that person is. And I don't know if there's a safety exit. I've attempted these things over the years and my life was tampered and messed with, which is the state in which me and my son is in as we speak. Okay. I don't know. That's all I can tell y'all on that. If you're dealing with something on a whole family line, people, and others are involved here, that's the obsession with fucking with your life behind the scene, whether that is by spell work, throwing spells and shit at you, or, working their works with their connections. Okay. And all of the above to fuck with your energy, to make whatever degree this is. Okay. Because that happened to me. We went across country. We did all kinds of things. And there's this constant infiltration. She says here, do you need help documenting behavior or rebuilding a support system that is outside of the group? Where do you find that when you have people surveilling you like this? I don't have the answers to that. Okay. I did say on an earlier video that many of you are possibly attempting.
So when it played on the highway.
Okay, possibly wanting to wear a body camera because it's just that fucked up now. It's just you can't tell anymore. And anything that you do, anything that you say, everything is being basically misconstrued by those with an agenda. So I don't blame you if that's the route you're going. If you're able to find something incognito enough to where it's like, hey, you got some kind of a record for yourself, interactions, conversations, you know, things happening and stuff like that. Because for some of you, and I regret to have to say, you know, or should I say, it's unfortunate that I have to say that's some of our realities. Whether the world wants to accept that that's what we're dealing with or not, whether it's easier for the world to believe that there's something wrong with us than to believe the fact that some of this stuff is actually happening. Okay. All while smiling at your kids. Doesn't it make you wonder? Doesn't it make you feel Twilight Zoney? Because it's like all these folks who be a part, and if it's not you, again, if it don't fly, if it don't fit, okay, be cool and let it go of it. But the ones where doesn't that make you wonder? Because all of these folks be smiling at your kids, telling your kids they love them. Just sit with that. To hell with you. Let's just sit with the fact that some of these people be telling your kids. And kids is somebody who's got the mind of a child. Don't fuck with me. Okay? Somebody who still has the mind of a fucking child. Telling your kids.
Mom, I think it was time for us to go.
Okay, not yet. Telling your kids they love them. Giving them spiked drinks. You know, or whatever is happening. Did you hear the sentence? Telling your children. I want somebody to say it out loud and sit with that. As they attempt to interfere with y'all's life while simultaneously looking like they're trying to help you with it.
If I said 6:30, let's go, Mom.
I love you, grandson. I love you, granddaughter. I love, you know, just play with this. Don't it make you wonder what could be going on in the minds and the consciousness of the beings who are formulating those words, who are giving gifts, who are doing all this stuff while knowing full well they're sending negative energy, they're interfering. Who does that? What kind of being? What is running supreme in a man or a woman who can look your child square in the face? And since they've managed to, you know, create the image, the world can't swallow that they would have any ill will. And that's what's even double fucked up about it. Because it is abuse on top of abuse. The abusee is abused, and then on top of it, they're accused. But I'll continue to teach more about this stuff. Someday there's one or two specks of folks out there who will start to really open their eyes and look into some of these things. Okay? When people are obsessed with your life, and by proxy, secretly, to manufacture forced compliance, forced, instead of something healthy, denial of reality.
You should go, Mom.
At the end of the day, narcissistic abuse is created to erase the person. They lose a sense of self through all the bullshit, the fake, the manufactured fights, the gaslighting, the lies, the games, all of it. The ganging up, because toxic groups love ganging up on people. They don't know how to do nothing independently. They love ganging up on somebody. It's a coward move, but it is their move. They love reminding people of who they got behind their back. Oh, I know this gangster, this person. Again, those are intimidation tactics. Those are bullying tactics. They love doing that. They love isolating and targeting who they feel is vulnerable and alone and all of that stuff. Cowards do that. Old school OGs, I'm going to say it this way. Real OGs, I ain't going to just say old school. I'm going to say real OGs because I need to specify the difference. Real OGs don't run like that. Real OGs is like the old school ways. They not into that. They want an old school fist fight. They want one-on-one. They ain't into that shit. They're like, man up, mount up. They not into that bullshit. That sneaky behind the wall, cowardly, I'm going to throw from behind. They're not into that. Real OGs. That's how some of y'all gonna know you ain't dealing with no real OGs. Because real OGs ain't operating cowardly. They sure ain't up to no bullshit on no single mama and they little Rain Man son either. Real OGs ain't on that shit. Only people who are into that, people who are willing to sell everything they have for a house, for some money. Yeah.
So now we're ready to go?
Huh?
Woo. Now that you're done recording, let's go, right?
My bad, y'all. I'm gonna get some ice and some water, son. I'm gonna get you some as well. Hold on. I was trying to tap this one. It wouldn't do it. Maybe it's a little slow. I don't know what this is. Bear with me.
Oh, Mom, let's go.
Hold on, Darrell. Okay. Anyhow, I'm done. So we'll have, this one is titled The Cycle. Okay, and these are cycles, that's abuse dynamics. It's always like this: the honeymoon, the love bombing, the discard, depending on what the supply was they're trying to get and what style of abuse that it is. But the problem on the side of the targets or the victims is, if it's not something that like I said on many videos, if you don't have a busted lip, a busted eye, if you can't prove that somebody is touching your things, stealing your things, and whether it's to fuck with your head or to whatever, because plausibility, it could be lost, it could have gotten mixed up in somebody's laundry. I mean, the list goes on and on. Okay, the list goes on and on. Know your truth, hold on to it.
What?
I'm gonna go so I can give me and my son some ice and some drinks as we are sitting outside in the hot. This is where we have to be at right now. And when I say where we have to be, I'm not saying that somebody forced us to. It's the passive aggressive things. My son is autistic. We have a space, and we may not want to watch what others are watching. So, and until then, we're adjusting and making do. And what am I doing as a mom is I'm doing what I can do to make sure that I'm hydrating. I'm out here with them. We're under the shade and all of those things, okay? And likewise, you do what you can with your situation, and only you know, okay? Folks may not get it and understand, but let me tell you, I understand and know just that you can see and know the dynamics that you're dealing with, whether or not the world can, and whether or not the world wants to believe it, okay? So try to be careful, stay authentic, try to stay sincere, try to continue to do all the things that's true of you for your integrity to hold through the whole thing, okay? And once again, I hate, and I'm going to stop saying hate. I think it's unfortunate, okay? But may you turn this, may you alchemize all of this ancestral bloodline hatred and bullshit and jealousy and envy and people blood pacts to sacrifice. May you alchemize people's decisions to move to strange lands and get caught up, get their consciousness snatched, and be willing to sacrifice you and your family for their own survival. May you clear this out once and for all. May you find your way. May you find your soul tribe in the middle of surveillors and stalkers, creepy creepersons following you around. Okay? May you find your soul tribe. May you find people who actually honor you and not tolerate you while they're secretly jealous of you. May you find people that are mature enough that is not bothered and triggered by your autonomy, your individuality. May you find, may you create, may you align, may you be well. In the middle of a reality where people are trying to make sure that you're not. Okay? Namaste.